Start the video. And one of the things I'm going to do, by the way, we're recording the session as we do all of these. I'm actually going to put you all on mute in a way that you cannot unmute yourselves. And that's because, but Carmel, I've just unmuted you. That's because this turns out to be a social talk fest and everyone's talking across each other. And it gets worse in the kitchen, it seems. So welcome to you all. It's lovely to see the people from Arcare. I can see you can wave there. Thank you very much, all the people from Arcare. That's lovely. Good to see you. We've even, I don't believe it, we've even got Mona from all the way from Canada. Welcome to Mona. Do you want to give a bit of a wave? There's Mona. By the way, if you can only see one face, that's because you're currently using Speaker View. You can actually, if you want to see others, you can use Gallery View. If you're on a phone, you can actually swipe across to see other people. So welcome to you all. Carmel, thank you very, very much for joining us today. I love doing these interviews, and I was going to interview your carrots today and just ask them a few questions. No, okay, obviously not. So today, by the way, if you haven't worked out, it will not be an interview. It's in fact going to be a cooking session. It's lovely to see how many people are cooking in their study today. That looks a bit odd, I have to say. I'm in my kitchen and you can see I've got all my ingredients ready to go. So I'm certainly ready. You won't see me today in the study. Of course, the signature tie is still there. Obviously, I wouldn't go without a tie, but I am wearing my apron. You can see it's somewhat used because, of course, I do a lot of cooking. A few people have written to me in the last few days, could I possibly do my signature dish, which is to make a cup of tea. And if there's time, I'm certainly, Sue likes that. If there's time, certainly I'm happy to do that signature dish. And also I do a pretty mean scrambled eggs if they don't burn. So welcome to you all. Thank you. And I'm going to, Tanya's already into the alcohol, which is beautiful. I'm going to pass over to Carmel. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Ronnie, and welcome to everybody, especially the people who are watching from Arcare, and of course Ted, my husband, who is there in the front row, I think, which is lovely. And I haven't done anything like this before. I've done a lot of cooking at the Shule, but that's been with other people, so this is a new experience for me. But anyway, we'll see how we go. I'm making the carrot kugel, but I'm also making some bliss balls because the carrot kugel is quite quick to make. I'm making some bliss balls. Now these two recipes both have two of the simonim, the symbolic foods we have for Rosh Hashanah, the carrots for a sweet new year, and the dates are the meaning of the dates is an end to our enemies and evil wishes. So we're getting rid of all the evil wishes and our enemies and all the bad things that we don't want to happen to us in the new year. Now the carrot kugel freezes very well. It's best made the day before. Because you can cut it into squares and it looks nice to serve, which I have made one before, yesterday, and it's nice to do it the day before, cut into squares, and it's all done. You can add currants to it. You can make it into muffins, which is a bit of fun to serve up as a muffin at a dining room table, at a yontif table or whenever, and you just cook it till it's firm and a little bit brown. Okay, so I think we'll start on that. And although we're not having hordes of people for our Rosh Hashanah meals this year, even if there's only 2 people or 1 person like myself, you can make it and it just freezes well in little portions. So I'll start the carrot kugel. I think you have the ingredients there. if you don't, I can call them out to you as I mix them. Okay.
I'll see if I can put those ingredients in the chat as well. Give me a moment.
Okay. You right? You right, Ronnie?
Yes, I'm just finding the ingredients and I'm going to copy and
Okay.
paste them into the... So you can start calling them out, but I'll see if I can copy and paste those in.
Okay.
Give me a moment.
So we have three cups of carrots, which I've grated. And that's always good to do the day before. It saves a lot of time. I think with any yontof or having people over, it's always good to do things the day before. You don't get into a panic on the day. Okay, so we have our 3 carrots. We have 3/4 of a cup of oil. I use vegetable oil, whatever oil you like. You could use canola, whatever oil you have in your kitchen. So we have our oil. We have half a cup of sugar. You could use brown sugar, ordinary white sugar, whatever you like. Then we have 2 eggs, which I will have to crack.
And Carmel, there's a trick to doing the eggs, at least for people who are concerned about the kosher consumers.
Yeah, I'm doing it now.
Right.
I'm cracking the eggs separately just to check that they're kosher without any blood spots in them. One.
And Carmel, for people who are non-kosher consumers, they probably think you're making a joke. They think you're cracking yolks.
Yes, you're right. Okay. Right, so we have our eggs. We have 1.5 cups of self-raising flour. And we have cinnamon. Now, there's no quantity for cinnamon, whatever you like. Maybe put in 2 teaspoons. Just put it in to your taste. And give it a good mix. Takes a bit of mixing up. I like to use a rectangular dish, which makes it easier to cut into squares and makes looks a bit more attractive. So as I said before, you can put currants in it or anything else that you think you like in a carrot dish. I think brown sugar actually would be quite nice. Gives it a different flavour. We've, I don't know if a lot of you know, but we've got a beautiful new kitchen at our Shule. and but unfortunately we haven't made a lot of use out of it. So hopefully next year we can get back to our cooking our cheesecakes and everything else we make at the Shule. Okay, so I think that's mixed enough. You can see it's quite a thick mixture, doesn't sort of go anywhere. Now I spray the container, your dish. Okay. Okay, so that is a good sized dish. It is going to rise a little bit because it's got the self-raising flour in it. And as I said before, just cook it. It's usually about, I'd say about an hour, depending on your oven. But just check it after about 50 minutes that it's firm to touch and it's slightly brown. So I'll put that in the oven, and as I showed you before, that's 2 ways of serving it, into squares or into muffins.
Now, Carmel, while you're doing that, a couple of questions have popped up. One was about how big the dish is, and you've shown us now.
Okay, let me get a tape measure and I'll measure it.
Okay. Okay, and I've actually been preparing for Yom Tov as well. You can see I've baked a couple of apples, especially for Rosh Hashanah, and I've got my honey dish. Carmel, over to you.
Okay, it's about 30 centimetres by 30 by 20 approximately. But it actually depends, because it depends you know, how thickly you measure your carrots, whether you really push it in or whether you just leave it a bit lighter. So approximately 20 by 30 is a good size, but you'll just experiment with that. Now I'll just put this in the oven and we'll start on the bliss balls.
Right, and Carmel, I've been cheating, I suppose. I've been using a few of these. It makes it easier for me because firstly, I don't have to wash up because I'm lazy. And also because there's just a couple of us, I didn't want to make a big quantity in one. I'm able to use it for later.
You can freeze in those, just pop that in the freezer.
Yeah, that's what I was intending to do. The other thing, Carmel, is the temperature of the oven once again.
Oh, well, average oven. Well, I mean,
180, 200?
No, I do 160. You could do 160, 170, depending on your oven. Mine's quite hot, and I cook everything on 160.
Yep.
Well, more or less, depending, but yeah.
Right.
How many people does it feed? I'd say six to 8, something like that. Depends, you know, how big an eater they, you know how much people eat. 6 to 8.
Right.
So you can always double it or 1.5 if you know you're having a crowd.
And also, Carmel, I noticed you hand mixed it, which is what most of us did. But can one use a mix master to mix it up?
Oh, you can, but I don't know about with the carrots.
Right, that's what I was wondering about. We actually have someone who wants to speak. Someone's unmuted with her. Her name is iPad, or his name is iPad. Could you identify yourself? Go for it.
Rosetta, Ronnie.
Oh, Rosetta.
Oh, hi.
Hi, Carmel. Just a couple of questions. Hi, that was terrific. I've got a lot of allergies in the family.
Yeah.
Could I make it with a gluten-free flour or say almond flour?
I can't see. Oh, well, you really want a self-raising flour to make it lighter. So you could use the gluten-free self-raising flour. I can't see why not.
Okay.
But the almond flour.
I guess if I haven't got gluten-free self-raising flour, if I used almond meal, it could come out as, I could make cookies instead of muffins.
Well, you could try.
I'll let you know. And the other thing is, a lot of them are fructose free. So could I use a sugar substitute?
Yeah, you could probably, use a xylitol or one of those substitutes. Yeah, good try.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sweetness.
Pardon?
Okay.
Thanks.
Now, Carmel, I think I've accidentally muted you, which is awkward. That's okay. You sound so good at the moment. Carmel, do you want to just check your computer screen to see that you can? That's it. Thank you. And Gwen has suggested using potato flour with baking powder. Of course, baking powder will help it rise. So if you notice praising.
You could just use whatever with baking powder. I'm sure, look, it's probably a bit of a foolproof, recipe. Okay, now let's start on the my glasses, on the bliss balls. These are using the dates, which are one of the simonim. So it's always nice to have these later with a cup of coffee, and they freeze very well, and they're just something you put in the processor all in together and roll it into balls. They do keep in the fridge for a week or so too, but they freeze very well. Okay, now if anyone wants to write it down, or maybe Ronnie, if you want to.
I'll type it into the chat as well. By the way, if you didn't see, I previously put in the recipe for the other one, for the carrot kugel.
Okay.
Yep, go for it.
Okay, right. Now we're starting off with half a cup of almonds, just chopped up slightly, and half a cup of walnuts. I've got the two of them in here, so we just put them in the processor, and we just process those firstly, just to like breadcrumbs. Okay, so we have our nuts in. Now we've got half a cup of shredded coconut. You can use shredded, you can use desiccated, whatever you've got at home. A cup of dates. Now I've used the medjool dates, but if you didn't have the medjool and you just had the ordinary dates, I would soak them in some hot water for 5 minutes or so, just to soften them, and drain the water out well. And because we don't always have medjool in the house, it says a cup of dates. I've used 11 dates, so between 10 and 11 dates. I'll go over the recipe in the end.
Yeah, Carmel, stop showing off. I've been on more than 11 dates.
Oh, well, you're lucky. Go in. Okay, put our dates. Now we've got 2 tablespoons of cacao. Cacao is like cocoa, but it's much healthier. All these things you can get at the kosher shop, Coles, whatever. So we have 2 tablespoons of cacao. Okay. A tablespoon of coconut oil. I'm just going to melt that a bit in the microwave. I'll put that in last. A tablespoon of chia seeds. A tablespoon of vanilla. I just guess it. Okay. And what else? A tablespoon of cacao nibs. Cacao nibs are like, they're a healthy chocolate. They're like the cacao powder, but they're in nibs, like little chocolate bits. If you can see them.
And how much was that?
The cacao nibs was 2 tablespoons.
2 tablespoons.
Yep. That's that. And some peppermint essence, which makes it nice and pepperminty. This is the Hoyt's peppermint essence. Just 12 to 15 drops up, just put it in. Okay. All right, so I'll go through the rest of the recipe again, the ingredients. A half a cup of almonds, half a cup of walnuts, half a cup of shredded coconut, a cup of dates, which if you're using a medjool, I did 11, but you know, about that. 2 tablespoons of cacao, 1 tablespoon of coconut oil, melted, a tablespoon of chia seeds, tablespoon of vanilla, 2 tablespoons of cacao nibs. Now I'm just going to melt the coconut oil for a minute in the microwave.
And while you're melting that, Carmel, we have a question in relation to leaving out any of the ingredients. And the question is, can you leave out, for example, peppermint essence? How would it taste without the peppermint?
It's fine because it's got the vanilla essence in it. It's just that they're called chopped mint balls. So that's, but you can leave it out. Yeah.
Well, leave out the name mint when you're telling people what they're eating, I suppose, would be an answer.
Say that again, sorry.
I said leave out the word mint when you're telling people what they're eating, and then you don't have the problem of choc mint. Yep.
All right, I'm just waiting for this.
And someone's asked about substituting something for peppermint essence. What about an almond? Would a choc almond work for us, Carmel? If we did a choc almond, if someone didn't want to use peppermint essence, could they use an almond essence?
Yeah, but I don't know if almond essence would go with vanilla essence, would it? I don't know.
Ah.
I don't know. If you don't want the peppermint essence, just leave it out.
Hmm.
Okay. Well.
And Carl, while you're doing that, I'll just tell people what we do for Rosh Hashanah. You've been mentioning the simanim, so those special foods that are a good omen. So we have actually in our home, we've prepared something like this, and yes, it looks like it's up the right way. It says Rosh Hashanah with the fig doors. So if you're unlucky to have to put up with us, that's what happened. And then on each of them, on the reverse side, we have something that we say pretty much in Hebrew. This one is about being the head and not the tail. So some people have a custom to put a fish head or a sheep's head on the table. We put the entire sheep there, just to make people feel, that way we don't have to cook a lot of food because they're off their food. And then we've got obviously for the pomegranate. So may you be as fruitful as there are seeds in the pomegranate and so on. And we've got in fact a whole chart which of sorts of things that we say and different foods we eat. Over to you, Carmel. And of course, these toothpicks obviously are single use. No, right.
I didn't hear it. The processor was on.
That's probably best you didn't hear it. I can see a few people smiling though, so they've obviously seen too much.
I've known you too long, Ronnie.
Yes, 1 minute would be too long for most people.
Okay. I'm just going to get some gloves.
And now that we're on food safety, don't forget that before you prepare food, and it's nothing to do with COVID-19, before you prepare food, always wash your hands well with soap and water. That's been going for hundreds of years, so you don't have to wait till COVID-19. You don't normally have to wear a mask, though, when you're preparing food. Some people wear something to protect their hair, so it doesn't, but I don't have that problem. Carmel.
Okay, now, I don't know if I can show you the texture. It's quite crumbly, but as you pat it together, all right, so it depends how big you like to roll your balls. I'll come down this way. I just take a spoonful and I just sort of keep squeezing it together and just turning it round so you get a nice little round shape. Sort of like that. You see? That's a good size. Some people like them smaller. I'll put them on here. You see them? Oh, can't see those. Whatever size you like dainty ones, you like bigger ones, and you can, if you want to, you can roll them in coconut, or you can roll them in cacao, but they're nice just leaving them as is because you've got all the good ingredients in them, and they're just very nice to have with coffee or for a snack during the day, and you don't feel quite so guilty because they're not so sweet.
And of course, Carmel, we in our family we have a tradition of making those and then painting them, and they look like this. They look quite professional, I must admit.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So I'll just do another one and show you. Here.
So, Carmel, all of the ingredients have gone into the food processor, and then you've
just put it all in,
and then you've made up those balls.
You do the nuts first, the half a cup of walnuts, half a cup of almonds, and then put the rest in. Just zoom it all up, and they're your bliss balls.
Yeah, thank you. Very good. And by the way, for those people who aren't into the technology of this, you zoom it all up. That's a technical term for mushing it.
Well, after all the Zooms that we've been watching.
That's right. Don't use your computer for this. Don't mix it up in your computer, particularly if your computer doesn't accept cookies. Don't.
So that's my carrot kugel and my bliss balls. So I hope you're going to try them. They're all very simple and quick and just nice to have for Rosh Hashanah. And I'd just like to wish you all a happy and a very healthy Rosh Hashanah and just peace and happiness. And thank you
very,
for
very much.
listening to me.
Thank you. Now, Carmel, in case people didn't have time to make these things, and I can see a few people still sitting in their study after a half an hour of this, just give us your address and tell us where you're leaving the finished product, and we'll come round. Make sure there's enough for 41 people, actually about 80 people. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. Listen, I can send them to your place because you're just up the road.
I'm not on just up the road. I'm also around the bend and up the garden path. Thank you very, very much, Carmel. That was great. Very much appreciated. I can see by the look on people's faces, they're getting lots and lots of claps and thumbs up, Carmel. That was really well done.
And welcome to Mona from Canada, a friend of Tanya's.
Yes.
I've known Tanya for a long time. She's on the phone at the moment.
I actually apologise to Mona because I didn't translate into Canadian. So there'll be you can actually copy and paste this into Google Translate for yourself. By the way, if you've just signed on for the first time, we actually have, it's not a weekly cooking session, but we certainly have a weekly Thursday lunch club. Lots and lots of good stuff. So this has been going for, in fact, for a couple of years. It wasn't weekly, it was then fortnightly, but we're now doing it weekly. Next week, we have Aaron Lewin, who's been surveying, interviewing, if you like, his journo. He's been interviewing people down in our local shops, particularly places like Light's Shoe Repair in Glen Huntley Road. Some of you may know some of these shops as kids already, and he's been trying to document some of the local shops that we've in the area, and we're interviewing him next week at 11 o'clock. So, by the way, the same number you used for today's session, the same Zoom number, is exactly the same one we use each week. And we've got a lot of stuff. In fact, tonight, by the way, we have our annual Henry Shaw oration. Don't bother coming to St Kilda Shule tonight because you'll feel very lonely, but it is in fact on Zoom. If you've got a piece of paper, you can write down this number. So it's on Zoom tonight. Let me see if I can find that Zoom link right now while we speak. The number tonight is 824 611 45936. That's 824-611-45936. Don't try ringing me on that number. You'll get absolutely no nachas at all. But tonight we're interviewing Eddie Jaku, who's a 100-year-old resident in Sydney's Montefiore home. He's being interviewed and he's going to share some of his by the way, published a book called The World's Happiest Man. If you may have read the book, but his fascinating in an interview. That's tonight at 8 p.m. That's our annual Henry Shaw oration. The numbers again for Zoom is 824-611-45936. If you're interested, of course, we also have daily morning shacharit each morning, and I can let you know those details. Most of you, almost all of you, by the way, subscribe to our newsletter. That's really the best way to get the information from us. If you don't get the newsletter, you don't have to be a member, by the way. If you don't get the newsletter and would like it, just put your email address in the chat and I'll see if I can copy and paste that at the end into the newsletter. The newsletter went out this morning, but I can certainly send you today's newsletter again, because there's lots of stuff, including, by the way, a booklet we've just published today, giving you some ideas on what to think about and how to behave over Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur at home. Unfortunately, it looks like we will not be, at least in Victoria, we've got lockdown. We will not be having services face to face, but certainly we've got a booklet there available in our newsletter today. So if any of you are interested, I can see some people now typing in their email address. If you're already getting a newsletter, don't need your email address, but if you want the newsletter and haven't been getting it, type in your email address and we'll try to make sure that you get today's, and then in future every Thursday please God. So lots and lots of stuff happening. We also have, by the way, on our Facebook page, and again, you don't need to be a member. You don't have to have an account in Facebook, but each Friday on Facebook, we have 3 sessions. I'll just do that for a moment. We have 3 sessions on Facebook every Friday. One of them is a message from Rabbi Glassman. Another one is a message from Rabbi Hillel Nagel. And the third one is Brett Kay singing Kabbalat Shabbat and other songs. And then Saturday night, after Shabbat goes out and after Yom Tov goes out, Brett Kay is doing some more songs and Havdalah. So lots and lots happening. If you're not sure, you can certainly put your email address in this list, and I will try to ensure that you get today's and all the future ones. Thank you very, very much. I know we're over time, but I appreciate it. Carmel, once again, thank you very much. I noticed you didn't share your address, so people will have to have made it themselves. But again, the ingredients are in today's newsletter. Looking forward to catching up with you the same time, same channel next week at 11 o'clock when we interview Aaron Lewin. The following week, by the way, we've got a fascinating a person who actually flies around the world, taking, he's an embryo courier. Of course, he's spent about half of his life at the moment in quarantine. He's just arrived back into Melbourne yesterday from 2 weeks in Sydney quarantine, because he'll fly into Los Angeles airport, but just stay in the airport to drop off an embryo and then come back. He'll end up 2 weeks in quarantine. So he's in 2 weeks' time. We've got someone who was born in Russia, moved to Shepparton, Brunswick, and then into the local area. He's going to be speaking a bit about his experience. Lots and lots of stuff happening over the next few weeks. Stay tuned. If I don't see you next week, and I hope I will, but if I don't see you next week, Shana Tova, all the best, and lovely to see you. Tanya, I haven't seen you for ages. Lovely to see you all. Same time next week. All the very best. And Shabbat Shalom for tomorrow night. And put in your email addresses if you're still interested in getting that newsletter. Thank you.